So a lot of people would think that I'm rewarding the barking here, but I'm really just changing the expectation. If he's barking because he's unhappy with me, and then all of a sudden he gets treats, I'm changing how he feels about the situation. We're just making it into a game. And I can toss the treats through if I'm not comfortable. And then once we get better and he gives me a little behavior, I can do that. If I'm just doing a walk by, I grab a couple treats and see he doesn't even bark that time because the expectations changed. And then do a little treat pile. And he's totally engaged in something else right now.
Scenario with Jody, how I see it is having him be able to sit and do commands is the biggest part, because he's in the presence of someone that's making him uncomfortable. But then that person has leverage, and in Jody's case, it was a treat. With some dogs, it's a toy. But we're able to use that leverage to kind of have him work for us. So just the act of having the dog being uncomfortable but still willing to sit, or lay and take treats, it kind of, in my view, helps that bonding experience to where they are starting to learn, hey, there is something out of this relationship for me if I just work with this person, and then I notice it kind of starts that bonding process.
I like the word leverage, kind of akin to just like motivation. You want to be able to leverage the motivation, I guess, have something that the dog is worth paying attention to you for.
Yeah.
And people that adopt dogs, my experience at least, too often lose that leverage. So for potential adopters, I think it's important for them to keep something that they can leverage with the dog and keep them motivated by.
Yeah,
that's super important to remember.
That's a really good point. Yeah, because if the dog goes home and they're just getting treats whenever for just standing there and they're not sitting, or they're getting the toys whenever, some dogs will kind of take advantage of that, and then we kind of do lose all of our leverage or power. Yeah. As far as different types of leverages, we got food or treats, and then we got toys, and then I think in some cases some dogs are people motivated, like they just want that attention. Is there any other things you use for leverage?
Well, I was just thinking when you were saying that, like freedom. If I can be your access to the outside world or doing fun things, sometimes it might require a little bit of restriction in the house. So if the dog is just running amok in the house, and we can use like some baby gaze or some crate time, and then show the dog like, hey, I'm your access to doing things that are fun and enjoyable to you, like exploring the world. That can definitely give us a lot of leverage. It's not to say that we should like lock the dog in a cage for most of the day necessarily, but it's just, I think it's a matter of timing your leverage, really, and taking advantage of those opportune moments where the dog wants to do something, so you show them like, I'm your way to do that, instead of just allowing them to discover it on their own.
Yeah.
And raising a puppy is the best example of that. Like you have a puppy that's just running all over the house, biting things, tearing things to shreds, like that's probably enjoyable to them. So then you're losing leverage because you're no longer the avenue to that stuff. But if puppy has a little bit of downtime, and then you get them out and you purposely take that opportunity to go out and do something fun together, then you're the key to that enjoyment or that excitement.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because if they're left to go around the house and rip things up, and we're not there, it's self-reinforcing. They're enjoying it, and if we catch it 10 minutes later, there's no point in correcting them because they're not going to understand. So I definitely agree, like baby gates and restricting the movement, if the dog's getting themselves in trouble, and then like supervising them, because we talked about the last session about the importance of correction just being like right on time. If we're too late, then the dog's not going to understand why they're being corrected.
Exactly.
Hey, Maxter. Another thing I like to do with the kennels, now that I think about it, instead of just letting the door fly open, I'll do like a couple of fakes. It's really good for crates too. And then I'll open it to kind of get them away from just bolting.
So big thing I see a lot is we don't want to unhook the dog right here, because then we just have their collar, and if they start biting us, we don't have any way to defend ourselves. So I always keep the leash on, and then I'll unhook them as they're going through. If they get past me, then I'll be able to shut the door, and then I can unhook them like this. That way, if they bite me or anything, I can pull my hand back.